This conference will now be recorded.
Okay.
Okay. So, thank you again, Jess, for joining us. And so then I guess my first question is really what brought you to 4D? How did you end up finding us and why? What was going on for you and your boys?
So we just happened to get referred by chance. I had never heard of it, but one of my children was seeing an occupational therapist and they recommended 4D Vision. So that's how we initially got hooked up with it.
And what was the OT noticing?
Um, I think they said tracking issues. To be really honest, I had a hard time following all of the nuances of the OT and the 4D as well. So I think usually I'm pretty in tune with things, but with both of those, I just kind of went with it, hoping we'd see improvements. But I definitely did not understand all of everything that was going on.
Right. What? Okay, then. So, just in life, life was what life was. You were like going along, and the kids were doing okay enough. What was life? For Ryan and Kyle, like, what kinds of things were they doing that made you think, oh, you know what? Maybe this is something that we need to look into a little bit more.
Yeah, so when Ryan, with regard to vision, when Ryan was younger, he had to wear an eye patch because he had one eye that was stronger than the other, and they didn't want it to become a lazy eye. So he had that history, and he had worn that for a year or two, maybe. But I thought his vision was okay, but just went with the referral. But when he was referred, what I started to think about was Kyle's vision had never been corrected to 20/20. And on every normal eye exam that he would have, he would struggle to read. I mean, almost all of what the doctor would have him read, the 4 or 5 letters on the screen, he wasn't even close, and it would happen every single time we went to the doctor. His school picked it up on a routine vision screening. He kept failing them, so I think he had failed 3 times, and they sent a note home to get seen again by the doctor. So that was really what I was thinking about more. And even though Kyle wasn't referred, I was like, I think he should get evaluated too. And I think of the two of them, he probably needed it more.
Right. And it's kind of interesting, right? Because you think like, okay, we've been going to the eye doctor, we've been doing this. He's been to the eye doctor. We did the catching, like you've been down this road and still he's not seeing 2020. And so what made you want to pursue the Built to Read program then? You came to 4D, Dr. Collier was like, oh, yeah, actually, we've got this going on, we got that going on. So we have this program. What made you decide to embark on it?
So I think that that first meeting that we had, Dr. Collier did an assessment and then was, for the first time ever, I think, able to identify what their deficiencies were and had a way to fix them. And I just had assumed that Kyle, one of the doctors told me, well, he got glasses too late. He was 5 when he got glasses. He should have had glasses at 3. So, he just may not be able to see 20/20, as in, like, we were just going to have to, that's just the way it was. So at that first meeting, I was just thrilled that the exam was so thorough and picked up these things that were still fixable. So it
Isn't
was,
that amazing?
yeah, yes, that's why I'm just so happy we found you, because I think he wouldn't have been able to see all that clearly. And there were times where he would see, I was like, oh, I think he sees fine. And there were other times, and I'm like, you can't read the time on that clock, like a digital clock. So, I definitely was concerned about his vision, but just didn't have any idea what to do about it until I came to you guys.
I think it's amazing that like there are there are eye doctors out there that are just like, well, this is what you see now. Like that's always, and as a parent, you hear that and you're like, this is as good as it's gonna get. Like that's it. That's it.
Right.
You know?
Right. Yeah.
And so, yeah, it's incredible that you didn't just settle for that and just be like, all right, well, I guess that's it. Cool,
Yeah.
thanks. So good job for you. And
Yep.
so you said like he couldn't see, the numbers on the clock. What other sort of results did you see through the program for each of the boys?
So I think Kyle at the beginning had no depth perception. And that got me thinking. We had just started skiing the season before he started the program, and he fell. Like I remember one trail, he fell like 10 times down it. And he was like, I just didn't see that there was a little hill there. And then this past season, after he did the program and we went skiing, I was asking him, can you see better? And he was like, yes, definitely I can see things that I couldn't see, the different changes in the hill, and now he could. So that was probably for him I think the biggest change that I noticed. And of course, snow, it was all white, it's hard to see anyway. So that was definitely the biggest change. Ryan, I think, has just picked up a ton of speed this year on reading. So I never considered that he would improve so much and that there may have been some sort of deficiency that was preventing him from reading. But this is the first year where I would say he reads more for enjoyment instead of, just his required homework per night. Sometimes it's hard to get him to stop reading. So a good problem to have.
It sure
So,
is,
yeah,
yeah.
so those would be like the two, I think, biggest things that I've noticed.
Goosebumps. I'm like, that's so awesome. What a wonderful change for each of them. And so what would you say to another parent who's thinking about starting Build to Read or looking for solutions for their children?
I would definitely recommend it. And I would also say just go for it, even if you don't understand it or don't feel like, you don't maybe think it'll work or are skeptical. Even as we were doing the weekly um, exercises at home, I had a hard time seeing how they would produce results, but we were very diligent about doing them. And I was like, let's just follow the program and see. I also have a cousin who's an eye doctor in another state, and I asked her, and she has something similar that she's aware of in her town, and said, if you do them, I have seen great results. So she encouraged us to stick with it. So we were just gonna see where we got with it. It was also a big financial investment, and some families may be concerned about that, and we were as well. I was, a little surprised at that. Looking back on it, it's worth every penny that we spent and more. So I would just encourage parents, if they're even considering it, to definitely go with it.
Oh, that's awesome. I think the investment thing is a big piece of it, right? And to when you're looking at like, ooh, I really hope this works, and you're crossing your fingers and you make that investment. It's also an investment in your time and your energy, right?
Right.
Like you
Mhm.
have to commit to, we're practicing this every day, and we are doing the work. And I think like if you're ready to really make results happen, you have to have that level of investment. And that's what you guys showed, that you're like, well, we're in it. Let's
Yeah,
do
and,
it.
and I would also say that it wasn't easy for my kids to do it. They generally did not want to do it. And I have one that was like, okay, I don't want to do this, but I'm just going to get it done. And then I have another one that was like, some nights it would be arguing or crying or I can't do this, it's difficult. And it took him a little longer to get through the program, I think, because he didn't always embrace it as much, but we stuck with it. And it would be really easy to give up when your kids are not always willing to do it. But looking back on it, if somebody told me, you could pay this price and do this time investment and you will absolutely get results, like looking back, there's no question that I would do it. And I think any parent would, if there's an opportunity to improve vision. So it was
Right.
well worth it.
And some things are hard, right? Like, it I don't always want to go to the gym, but I got to work out because that's what's healthy for me. That's what, and all of us have our something. I don't always want to eat vegetables. I don't always want to,
Yes.
like all those things. But we as parents know, well, buddy, these are things you got to learn. We have to learn how to read. We have to know what our bodies are doing and how to improve ourselves, even if it's not always easy. And we can stick through hard things and we can see that it pays off. So have the boys themselves. I mean, you already talked about the skiing and noticing that. But were there other times where the kids realized, like, oh, this activity used to be hard, but actually I'm getting pretty good at it, or any kind of things that they could notice that they were improving on?
I think in general, not so much. Although I think one of my kids used to really dislike writing, and he recently told me, "Oh, that's not hard for me anymore." So I don't know that that's a result of this program, but that's definitely happened this year. And as I said, he's reading more for enjoyment. But I don't think that they have come up with anything that says, like, oh, because of these exercises, I can now do this. I don't think they have noticed it as much, but I definitely have noticed it. And even to see them both reading the 2015 line in an eye exam, I mean, what I like about this is that it's really, I'm sort of like a numbers person, and, I don't want anecdotes. I want, like, can you measure something that has been improved since starting the program? And that, it's proof. It's, I can see them reading things that they couldn't read before, seeing things that they couldn't see before. So, and I know Dr. Collier is always giving me a lot of like numbers and stats, and I like having that concrete data that shows improvement versus, not just what we're seeing. So I
Right.
don't think they've noticed as much, but they were definitely, thrilled to be done with the program and sort of graduate. And so they're happy with the progress too, even if they can't, explain it.
I'm done.
Yes. Yeah.
You clap because you did a good job, or you clap because it's over. Either way, we're clapping. This is good.
Yeah.
Awesome. That's so great. I mean, we have been doing vision therapy for some time, as 4D. I myself have been a vision therapist for about 6.5, 7 years now. And it's been really thrilling to see not just like, yeah, the numbers were shocking to all of us. Honestly, we were expecting good things, we were expecting great things, in fact, otherwise we wouldn't have done it.
Right.
But when we saw the numbers, like from this specific program coming in, we were like, wow, this is amazing.
Yeah.
And what we also have seen that has been really very cool to watch is like the relationships with parents and kids. Because as parents, your child, and you know how to make them do the things that they don't want to do. You know how to push them when they need that motivation. You know how to, like, say, hey, you weren't reading that before, or, oh, writing's hard, isn't it? No, oh my goodness, like, to be able to connect to what your child is struggling with and successful at. We can do that as therapists, but not on the same level you guys can. And
Mhm.
so that's been really awesome to watch. So congratulations to you.
Thanks.
And I'm
Yeah.
just so excited for your family.
Yes, yes. And another piece of that I think, you know, we had to practice every night for several months, but we're home. We didn't have to make a trip to your office to do all of the appointments. And so it was much easier to get in knowing, okay, it's just 15 minutes at home. And sometimes that may have taken 25 or 30 with lots of interruptions and complaints, but we would get it done. And the convenience of being able to do it at home was, I think, really important to completing the program.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. I love seeing my kids here, but I'm really happy they can stay home. It's
Yes,
good.
yes, yes, yep.
Oh, awesome. Well, is there anything else that we should let everybody know, or anything else you want to say You said a lot. Things are great. I'm so excited for you. You did a great job. Kyle did a great job. Ryan did a great job. Woohoo family. But anything else that you want people to know?
I just think this, from everyone that we have ever dealt with on your staff, everyone's been fantastic and supportive. And there were times when I was like, I don't have this piece of paper for this exercise, and I would email, and Kelsey would send it back to me in, 2 minutes. So everybody, really was very supportive and helpful. And I also love the level of thoroughness in the exams that Dr. Collier does, because I feel like she looks at so many more things than a traditional eye exam. And I think it's just been wonderful. And it's, I would just encourage anybody who's contemplating to reach out to your office and get services. So we've had a great experience.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Yes, I agree. But no, thank you. Thank you so much. And we love what we do, and we love working with your family, and you guys have been wonderful too. So just good claps all around. We're all awesome. So thank you very much.
And good luck. I do think that it would be great if you guys could promote it more, because we just happened to stumble upon it by chance. And I would have loved if one of our eye doctors had recommended it, or I didn't even know what to look for. So I think it's great that you are trying to promote it more, and hopefully more families kind of get the word. So
Yes.
good luck.
And thank you for your role in that.